Morning, guys. Jim Adkins here from Adkins Results Coaching. Only got a quick minute, but I wanted to come on here and follow up with from the last video that I did. We had some internet issues, and it kind of cut out, and I didn't really get to touch on this. But today, I wanted to approach it really quick so I can get out here on the floor with one of my black belts and work out this morning. Who you spend your time with, you become. And we've all heard this before, and you've heard me say it a few times. And when we're talking about raising your standards, even when you can't change your environment, this one becomes a big one. I've seen it happen in my life with people that I surround myself with, and the people they surround themselves with, the people that they surround themselves with. Sometimes, let me say, 99% of the time, the people that you surround yourself with, that you spend your time with, and we're going to talk about spending your time real quick because that's a definition I want to really highlight. You become. If you hang out with 9 broke people, you're going to become the 10th broke person. If you hang out with a group of people who smoke, chances are you're probably going to smoke and drink and language and attire and attitude. These are all things you pick up and you relate to. And inherently, if they're already in you, those type of, you might be drawn to that type of crowd because of past experience or just personal choice. And during that process, it brings out of you what's already in there or what you think you might want to do or become, or you just don't pay enough attention and pretty soon you're following along. Now, you can also use this for good. Okay, it's not just evil. If you're paying attention and you choose your peer group, and you don't have to be mean. It's not a mean thing to not want to be a part of a certain group. And it doesn't mean that certain group is bad or good. It just means they're not for you. And when you raise your standards, that doesn't necessarily mean that other people are not up in their standards. Okay, don't get that wrong, and don't ever, look down upon people. I mean, there are people that choose to live negative, and you don't want to look down on them, but you definitely don't want to become them. Does that make sense? And that's just my interpretation. Maybe you do. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put that on you, but I don't want to become them. So when you move, good morning, Cindy. So when you move through life and you surround yourself with people, don't forget that the people you allow in your time, you allow in your energy, you allow in your space will have an effect on who you're becoming. They will have an effect, especially if it's a continual motion. So when you're trying to raise your standards and you can't change your environment, and I use the example of a job, and I've seen this happen to people that I love. They spend a lot of time at their job, and the people that they work with are not, they're not the brightest. And it doesn't mean that the people I love are becoming denser because they're very smart people, but they do lower their standards. And the association may not mean they become dumber, okay, but it does mean that the way they deal with other people has now become an anticipated response to the ignorance of others, meaning they anticipate other people to be the way that the people they surround themselves with. Does that make sense? Another good example, and bless their heart, the police officers that I love and work with, they are in a job or a career saving people and helping people, and that's not the only thing they do. They deal with people on a daily basis. They're kind of the forefront in your community when things are good. To open the floodgates or open the doors to other people to come in and see what type of community you have. But really their job is dealing with people that aren't really up to their own standards. So when I talk to the exiting police officers who have come to the end of their career and they're done, they are jaded to a point. Some of them believe that everybody lies, and they have a hard time looking for the good in people. They have a hard time because their livelihood has proven to them that there are people out there, not everybody, but the certain sect that they spent most of their time dealing with, didn't have the best of intentions, and that makes them feel a certain way. So who you surround yourself with is who you become. And if not them, if you're not becoming the people you surround yourself with, you're definitely going to be affected, and it will change who you are and how you see others based on your reality at the moment. Does that make sense? So when you're raising your standards and you can't raise or you can't change your environment right away, I mean, I recommend that if it gets too bad, you find a way to change it, right? But let's say you're there and that's just what's happening for now, or it's your family or whatever it is. And those people that you surround yourself with in the current moment are not who you would like to become. Where do you look for inspiration? And I've said this and it sounds silly, but I have done this my whole life. I look to my instructors. When I was working on my martial arts as a young man, I wanted to be, now not all of them. I met a lot of people I learned from along the way, but there were a certain few that had traits that were undeniable: honesty, integrity, strength, fortitude, the drive, the sense of humor, even though some of them may be a little skewed. I wanted that, and I modeled them, and I watched, and I tried to move exactly like them, and in doing so, I could feel how they felt, and I could put on those traits and become a little bit more like those people every time. I've got heroes from movies, from books, from school, teachers, and friends that I've looked at, and if I can't always be with them, I can't, obviously hang out with the movie stars or even the characters in a movie, but you watch them and you go, you know what, and I'm going to spend my time, if I'm watching a movie that lifts me up, watching a movie that I can relate to and go, I want that. I want to be like that, and lift you up. And I know it's a silly way to do it, but you can do that. Same thing with a book. If you sit down and you let that book take you over, and I like to read things that I can learn from. I'm not much of a reader of stories, but you can put yourself in the place of the author or in place of the subject that you're doing and become that subject and lift your standards up that way. So there's just simple rules or simple ideas, not rules, simple ideas on how to raise your standards when you're not capable of changing your environment. I hope that helps this morning. I figure it's going to help somebody. So what can we do today to raise our standards? Eat healthy. We talked about that yesterday. Let me give you another one. Eating is not just about your body and your health and your energy, but it's about your mind too. There are superfoods that you can eat that protect your brain. And I'm learning more about that. And we'll talk on Friday morning when I go live here and we have our weekly webcast. I think I'll save it for that. But have a good breakfast this morning. Get up, work out, and raise your standards. We'll go into Friday. All right. I love you guys. On your mark, get set, grow. Bye, Cindy.